The following is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. They can tell me how we can do it together. When we look at the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PNP. People said the bag of promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting higher, wonder when it a go stop comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We can tell me how.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs. I know why you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right there, that's stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.
Hello, welcome. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to those in television land. Happy Friday to our silent supporters. Happy Friday to everyone in the chat. As usual, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate each and everyone's continued support. As usual, remember when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing, which will be greatly appreciated. And remember that the membership is still active. Today's topic is economic turmoil with your host, Mystic Sensation, and Melting Pot should be joining us short. He said he's running a bit late. Happy Thanksgiving to those over there in the US. Hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving so far. And I think today is Black Friday, hoping everybody is finding some good deals on things that they want. Maybe for Christmas they want to shop earlier and stuff. So hope you guys are getting a good deal online. All right. So let me just welcome those in the chat. Egla Fletcher, Lavina Mel, Sonia Johnson, Christopher Wright. Bless up yourself. Without any delay, I am going to hand over to.
All right. Thank you for that, honey. All right, my peeps. Welcome again to another Mystic Sensation, vibes, as it relates to good governance. Always, we are here to speak and hold government accountable. We have seen, and let me say this, kudos to all of the People's National Party, members of parliament, For me, I believe that they are doing an excellent job in terms of, holding government accountable. We have likes like, of course, Nikisha Burchell, Trust me, a powerful lady, As Lika Jess, Isaac Buchanan, and of course, Ian Heels, and we really appreciate in terms of what they are doing, calling out the government shortcomings and rightly doing it, Now, we know as it relates to the propaganda being spreading around, as it relates to how the government, right, is responding to the whole situation as it relates to pre-Melissa, right, and post-Melissa, right? The preparation and the aftermath. And as it relates to, you know, the truth of the matter or the facts of the matter, right? The Jamaica Labour Party administration handled it very poorly. Why am I saying that? It is evident, right, that even now the Jamaica Labour Party administration failed to, you know, put together what we call, right, an independent task force, right, so that checks and balance, right, can be maintained. And if you as a government want checks and balance, right, and as it relates to even the distribution of relief, right, in a balanced way, right, and you want to ensure that, you know, you're not dealing with this on a partisan basis, right, and so then it shouldn't, you know, a situation where you are saying that, okay, all right, you are not doing this, and the opposition is saying that, okay, you are doing this. This is one of the reasons why you need an independent, right, committee, right, to make that decision and say clearly what is happening, right? So the point finger, right, is not working. But what we know for sure is that the Jamaica Labour Party administration, right, has not seek, right, to make sure that they are ensuring checks and balance and honesty and transparency. Because we have heard journalists, right, like Zara Burton, right, Diane Jackson Miller, right, have been asking the government what happened, right, to the independent task force. Remember now, we are now going, you understand, more than a month, right, and you don't have this set up. You don't have it. Now it begs to the question, why you have some people coming out and trying to defend the government for the government failure. We have seen the lady from the World Bank, right, came out and spoke that, you know, the Prime Minister had done well, where she herself, right, has not gone in to any area, right, and check on, okay, let us check on the shelters. She has not done that, right? Probably if she had done that, right, she wouldn't be saying what she had said, right? She has not gone in there, you understand, to check on those shelters as it relates to whether or not they were hurricane proof, right? As it relates to a certain standard, whether or not, right, the basic amenities, right, were met with these shelters. And then she would realize that what she's speaking about, the Prime Minister, excellent performance, right, is garbage. I mean, 100% garbage, right? She has not rate the Prime Minister as it relates to the drain system, right? Remember, it is not the first time that Andrew Holness administration is facing, right, an hurricane, right? Hurricane Melissa, Hurricane Beryl, right? Although it never reached landfall, but came quite close enough, right, and filters a lot of flooding. So the Prime Minister should have known as it relates to the amount of flooding, right, that Beryl, right, dumped on the island, right? What did the Prime Minister do with the drains? Nothing, absolutely nothing. And when we talk these things, the Prime Minister just lie. The Prime Minister administration just lie, and the PR will just not help. Because if you go around the various parishes of Jamaica, right, and into deep communities, right, the towns are wherever, right, and you look on the drain system, they are porous. So we are not telling any lies on the Prime Minister. Certainly not. Right? All right. Watch this now, Jamaican people. So you have Hurricane Beryl came, the drain, right? There is no much focus on the drain from Hurricane Beryl. Okay. You have Melissa came. You see them roughly about 2 days prior to Melissa. Them start to shuffle around and do some little drain cleaning. Okay. Melissa gone. And this is what I want to let the world, the lady from the World Bank know. Melissa had gone. Since you're talking about Andrew Wallace perform excellently. Jamaica, look. Melissa had gone. Melissa had done a significant damage. Right? As we speak, Jamaica, Andrew Wallace administration don't have a solid drain cleaning program. To say, okay, all right, drains are going to be clean, you understand, on a consistent basis. They have a particular program that is going to address that. They don't have it. They don't. So what Andrew Wallace is doing now? Sit again, right? Or waiting for another hurricane to come. And because he's confident that his PR team can go there and lies and polish off and do all the things. Well, that is what's wrong with Andrew Wallace administration. They are not doing nothing. They are a reactive government. Reactive government. Not being proactive. Not being proactive. What are the lessons learned from Hurricane Beryl? There was no lesson learned from Hurricane Beryl that they had taken into dealing with Hurricane Melissa. What are the lessons learned from Hurricane Melissa that you are going to take now to be proactive, to prepare, fully prepare? No. What you are now facing, you are facing a devastating economy. That as we speak, Jamaica, right, there is no guarantee how quick this economy is going to bounce back. The truth be told, JPS in a dire strait. And before the country can really kickstart, it really needs the energy to be on the up and up. But that's where the problem lies. And so then when we have likes like Nikisha Burchell, right, pointing out the issues, right, as it relates to her constituency, and highlighting also the insensitiveness, right, of the government, of the administration, not to recognize the severity of the damage as it relates to Melissa. But just go on, right? Happy-go-lucky, right? Because they have a PR team and believe that they can PR their way out of this one. They cannot PR their way out of this one because you know why? People, right, are feeling the reality. People are suffering. People are dying. And as the day progresses, right, it is getting serious and more serious. As the day progresses, the economy is facing the abyss. Before I begin, let me just have Melting Pot meet and greet. Melting Pot.
Yes, Sir Byron. Lady Anne Marie,
Bless
love
you.
yourself, respect. Yeah, and to everyone tuning in to Miss Sensation Live, the early afternoon vibes. Of respect, of love, as usual with the year, continue the show.
Yes.
So I give up to the host.
All right. Blessing, Melting Pot. So let us tune in as it relates to, right, our, and when I say about the People's National Party, members of parliament, right? Again, I'm going to be truthful, right? Yes. Am I someone who, right, is a defender of the People's National Party per policy? Yes. I'm going to tell you that straight. Right? I am a People's National Party person as it relates to the political philosophy. But does it mean that I'm going to be biased? Right? Does it mean that I cannot be truthful in terms of, dealing with a particular issue? Right? So I'm not hiding my political affiliation. Right? I affiliated, right, with the People's National Party. I love the principles and policies, right, relating to the People's National Party. But however, what we are seeing now in terms of the comparison, in terms of leadership, Mark Golding, right, as it relates to the level of professionalism, right, get an A+. Mark Golding, as it relates to credibility and honesty, get an A+. Mark Golding, as it relates to the ability to bring back this economy, again, get an A+. Let us go on the other side, right? And as I said, not because, right, that, of course, I'm a PNP person. I'm a manlyite. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be biased. Let us speak to Andrew Holness. Is Andrew Holness an honest person? Based on allegations out there, no. No, certainly not. Why Andrew Holness is not an honest person? Number one, he cannot explain. Ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty simple. It's pretty much simple. He cannot explain his illicit enrichment. In comparison to Mark Golding, right, and where it is not any form of PNP person who is doing this grade. So let me do the appropriate grade as it relates to what the World Bank lady failed to do. So let's talk about, right, the appropriateness in terms of speaking, in terms of what I'm talking about, making the comparisons between Mark Golding and Andrew Holness as it relates to honesty. We are under that matrix, honesty. Why am I saying that Mark Golding, right, is more honest, far more honest than Andrew Holness? Simple reason. It is the Integrity Commission investigators, you understand, the creature of parliament, right, who is now deciding, right, the fate, right, and deciding, you understand, to define what I'm speaking about as it relates to honesty. So here's the IC. The IC is saying to us that, okay, each year that Mark Golding, right, supposed to, submit his statutory declaration to be certified. Mark Golding submitted his statutory declaration on time, right? And for all the years that Mark Golding been submitting his statutory declaration, right, the IC, the Integrity Commission, find no form of inappropriateness, right, so to speak, with Mark Golding's statutory declaration. Okay, all right. So we are using the IC. Remember, we employ the IC, right? And we put the IC there. As a matter of fact, it is both the PNP and JLP put the IC there. As a matter of fact, it is Andrew Holness who shuttled in the Integrity Commission Act. Mark Golding, right, drafted the act. Andrew Holness, right, shuttled it into law. So then now, am I biased? No. We are dealing with the same standard being set, not by Mystic Sensation, not by Melting Pot, but that standard set by the People's National Party, who supported the bill into law, dealing with the Jamaica Labour Party, who supported the bill in law. So on that basis, right, I am making my judgment. So then, let me set the argument straight before anybody come around and accuse me of being biased. So then now we are taking it on the level that both the PNP and the GLP utilize the system, right, that they chose to utilize by making sure that the Integrity Commission Act 2017 under Andrew Holness administration shuttered in law. Period. Point blank and period. Now let us move on now. So the Integrity Commission, right, investigators are finding problem with Andrew Holness, right? However, they are not finding problem with Mark Golden. Why? Is it that to say that, okay, the Integrity Commission investigators are biased? No, I don't think so. They are doing their work, right, as what's set out for them to do, right? So then, the Integrity Commission is saying to the public at large, to civil society, to PSOJ, to the World Bank lady, saying that, look, here it is, that we have a problem with the Prime Minister, who is the person responsible, right, as it relates to making the Integrity Commission Act into law. Okay, we have a problem with him. And the problem that we have with him, right, he cannot explain his wealth. So then that is a serious problem, right? However, we look at Mark Golden, and each year Mark Golden submitted statutory declaration being certified. We have no problem, right, as it relates to Mark Golden on any of his submission. Not one. Not one. On that basis, I formed my decision. I came to my decision in saying that Mark Golden is much more honest, right, than Andrew Holness. So I'm giving you a legitimate basis of my decision. Point blank and period. Now, let us move on. When we look on the whole situation as it relates to Melissa, did Andrew Holness administration, right, deal with drain cleaning? No. Right? As it relates to shelters, right? Were those shelters that they provided, right, appropriate, meet the appropriate stand? No. No. Now I'm going to have you listen to Nikisha Burchell, right? And then we speak on the matter. Honey, lift up that Nikisha Burchell, that last video that you put up there. And let us listen to this, Jamaica. In terms of Nikisha Burchell pointing out the insensitiveness of this administration. Listen to Nikisha Burchell.
Data gaps are so wide and so glaring that we have not seen that kind of treatment that you laid out for us here today. So we didn't see the JDF people rappelling down from ropes and bringing food to the people in these remote communities. We did not see the JDF and the JCF and the NWA and all these agencies.
Madam Speaker, most of us appreciate English language and understand similes and metaphor, but you'll get there. No, Madam Speaker. No, Madam Speaker, Prime Minister, and thank you. I was speaking to the reports you were receiving. I'm certain you did not go there and collect that information yourself, but you're relying on those in the field to provide you with information so you can make the best decisions. And I'm saying that what was shared here today doesn't reflect the reality we had on the ground in South St. James. As someone who walked across the constituency from Wednesday until Sunday and returns there tomorrow, I speak as their mouthpiece to say to you, Prime Minister, that what you have received, consider, or will you consider that it may be embellished and not truly reflective of what we're experiencing? That's a question. My next question is about the scale of the damage and inadequate allocations. And I want to thank you and thank your cabinet for considering that $10 million allocation to a constituency like South St. James. But when you get a chance, and I know you have a long list of places to go, Prime Minister, will you consider coming to South St. James and these constituencies on foot this time and see for yourself the scale of the damage? I know that data is not our strong point in Jamaica. We don't collect enough data to show you that 5 or 10 or whole communities have been wiped out. And the speaker, the leader of government business can tell you, because he's from Moko, that Moko don't exist anymore. The houses have been flat. I don't know where to start with $10 million. And I'm asking that you do not apply a one-size-fits-all budget or purse to constituencies that have been totally demolished by devastating Melissa. That you come in not by yourself, but with the technocrats, with those from Mona Geologics, with those who actually, not the politicians, they're just noise. I want you to consider, Prime Minister, to come in with the technocrats and see for yourself, because I don't know where to begin with $10 million. And my final question, Madam Speaker, to you, Prime Minister, is compensation and recognition for community responders. For me, I heard when you mentioned, Prime Minister, you know, about all of these agencies that went in and did all of these beautiful things in the constituencies, supported by the men and women on the ground. I wish for you to understand that from our perspective, it was the entire another way around. It's 180 degrees. It was the men and women from the constituencies who went in first, second, and third to clear the way so that they could come in. And I want you to consider, or will the Prime Minister consider, that the stimulus package that you proposed be thought out in a way that not only the big contractors who come in with their trucks and their tractors from parishes in St. Thomas and Kingston get the big bucks, but consider, Prime Minister, that these people who use them saw, them hoe, them machete to clear a path be given some of the big bucks too, and not just the crumbs after they have swallowed up the bulk of it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Take that away.
Member from St. James South.
Thank you, member. She just want her to stop speak because, I mean, every word that she utters, right, is just jerking her, jerking Juliet Oldness in her skin. Whichever part of the aisle that you're on, whether you're PNP, whether you're GLP, when you listen to a Nikisha Burchell, the excellence of professionalism just exhibiting, you will love her regardless of whatever aisle you're on, whether GLP or PNP, because I've heard GLP persons speaking of Nikisha Burchell. You know, I am so, to me, it appears as if Nikisha really and truly is just way above in terms of her political experience, in terms of she just being a member of parliament. She has no political experience, so to speak. But I am saying in terms of her delivery, in terms of her awareness is beyond the horizon as it relates to political representation. And this is what we are talking about when we're talking about Don't be a politician. You heard Nikisha Burchell said, oh, not the politician, they just make nice. Be a political representative. You have heard her stood in parliament and defending her constituency with all her spirit, all her soul, all her might, and her power. You have seen that she exposed the Prime Minister administration in such a professional way. But guess what? Doing it in the most respectful way. That the Prime Minister cannot say or look any at all as if he was disrespected, because he wasn't. But the truth, the reality was poking at him. And what Nikisha was saying, that look, you can don't speak out of terms, bring the technocrats who have the experience, who have the skills. When you come into the constituency, right, walk through and observe the magnitude of the damages. And when you look at it, might be you would reconsider that $10 million per constituency should be lifted times 10 if you are paying $17 million for a welcome sign in Montego Bay. Let me heed back and bring in our cutting edge, Mr. Melting Pot. Blessings, Pot.
Thank you, Sir Byron. I mean, just on the subject matter of good leadership, you know.
You can turn up the mic a little bit more.
Yeah, hearing me better now?
Ah, lovely, man.
Yeah. Just on the subject matter of leadership, you know, we have to look at two main ingredients, first and foremost. Trust and honesty. And the second phase of any leader who want to lead a party and represent majority of people must have a philosophy and principle. Now, Andrew Holness administration lack any form of philosophy and they have no principle. And as a leader, we find Andrew Holness to be this honest person and an unworthy person to be even classified as having any form of trust. So those, you know, just compound Andrew Holness as a leader. And this is why we have these type of issues in Jamaica currently.
Yes.
Where even in a time of great needs, we see where the leadership is non-existent. Simply because of, you know, certain amount of high-level hypocrisy that, you know, attach itself to the leader. We know Andrew Holness has made colossal amount of mistakes in his time as Prime Minister. And this particular period was a time for him to redeem himself. But we find that Andrew Holness feel even more miserable now.
Exactly.
Because, you know, when a guy is used to a certain, you know, way of life, and when that certain way of life presents itself in an enormous package, then you can't expect nothing but failure on that person's part. So Andrew Holness has failed miserable again, Jamaican people. Because, you know, when it comes to distribution and distribution with equal rights, he does not have that ingredient. You know, because Andrew Holness, you know, is a leader that Edward Seaga created. And we know fully well that leaders are born. And when you're born to be a leader, you find it easy and efficient to lead. But when you are being created to become a leader, then you have to work on the blueprint model that was used to guide you, through your time of, learning to become a leader. So Andrew Wallace has practiced Edward Seaga philosophy. And we know what Edward Seaga philosophy had done. And we are seeing, the same replica being handed out by Andrew Wallace. So there, is such a heavy feeling amongst many Jamaicans currently at the moment. Yeah. Just simple based on the fact that the opportunity presents itself on the 3rd of September for Jamaica to have a new leader guide the country and to run the country. And for some unforeseen circumstance, which we know was, we can attribute it to corruption and suppression and all type of ignorance being done on the day of election. Jamaica find itself stuck in the hand of Andrew Wallace. We know fully well that Andrew Wallace cannot deliver on any promise that he makes to the Jamaican people, because he has proved time and time again to be a failure in that department. So many promises have been made by Andrew Wallace that he has not delivered at one. If you go back to his 100-day promise, not come out of that. So that is just a gateway to this guy and how him behave as a leader. We also recognize, a high level of corruption within Andrew Wallace. And as it relates to statutory declaration cannot be certified, yeah, we know you fail in that department. And if you make the comparison with Mark Jefferson Golden, he has always been, certified, never failed once. Now, when you look at all the other adverse effects that plague Andrew Wallace in terms of, being a man of principle, yeah, he lacks that. When you look at a Mark Jefferson Golden, a man of principle and a man of substance. And so Jamaican people, for some reason, find it easy to gravitate Mark Jefferson Golden than Andrew Wallace. Simply because one is for the people and one is against the people. Now that same philosophy, exists all the way back between the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party, going back as far as Michael Manley and Edward Seaga. Yes. Michael Manley and the People's National Party were for the people of Jamaica. Edward Seaga and the Jamaica Labour Party was against the people of Jamaica. Who were their prize asset at the time? CIA. Yeah? And so the party has, prolonged along that line and don't have any intention of departing from that structure, because Jamaica Labour Party is built on the foundation of crony capitalism. And as we always outline to our listeners and viewers, crony capitalism is not for the common people, it's for the wealthy. True. The principle does not provide care for the common people, it provides care for the wealthy people. And so democratic socialism, as Michael Manley roll out that program in the life of Jamaica from in his time as being a leader, should have been the model that Jamaica was built upon. But for some reason, our people has always find it necessary to change the protocol, change what is good for them, change a package that was, designed and formulated by a great leader, the greatest leader of the country, the man who pioneered and championed democratic socialism, the man who said equal rights and justice for every Jamaican, the man that bring the policy of equal pay for women in the workplace, and all the various policy that Michael Manley instituted for Jamaican people, so that we can have a life in our country, a life that, has substance, a life that look good and represent human being. The Jamaica Labour Party destroyed that. Yes. Because Education is the key foundation to build a nation. And under Michael Manley, education was his priority. Yeah, he instituted Jamal, and all sector of education was given priority and special attention. Yeah, all the way up to tertiary level education, free. And there was so many other programs that coincide with free education, like free lunch, free uniform material, free books. And so, Jamaica was built upon that, background of making sure that the citizens in the country is fully educated and, have knowledge, which will give them a sense of empowerment. The Jamaica Labour Party has destroyed all of that. So what the Jamaica Labour Party like to create is an environment that it can have the upper hand over the citizen and rule against the people in a way that suppress the people, marginalize the people, and victimize the people. And so we are seeing the same ideology practice now being demonstrated in the crisis of Hurricane Melissa, where one side is being looked after and the next side is being neglected, where people who has the right to represent because they were democratically chosen to represent, yeah, as member of parliament, are treated with scant regard, no regard. When you have a situation that calls for unity and strength, and you see the leader of the country decide not to utilize that tool, then it's cause for concern. The Jamaica Labour Party has seen fit to dispel of the opposition party and its leader, Mark Golding, in not having any form of dialogue or cooperation to, help to restore back Jamaica. So they think they can go it alone. But the primary reason for Andrew Holness to have this type of system in place is to practice what he always preached, and that is corruption. And we are seeing it playing out. Yeah. Members of parliament that represent the People's National Party, they can't seem to get any form of assistance to offer to their people. And, even the cleaning up operation is like certain places in Jamaica are being left alone until last resort. And so the people are still suffering, even when there is much on the ground to ease the suffering. In terms of the distribution, the Prime Minister is using a procurement process before distributing what is being given by donor country to Jamaica government to distribute to the people, to ease the situation and to alleviate the strain and burden on these people. Food and water and other supplies, they have been deprived, but people have been, to the forefront to help to ease the burden on the Jamaica government. But what the Jamaica government does is to extend the burden in such a way that people have been left wondering where help is coming from. And that paint a bad picture on Andrew Wallace and the Jamaica Labour Party. And we are calling on civil society now, Jamaica for Justice, umbrella group of churches, and other well-thinking organizations to have a word with this Prime Minister, talk some common sense into this Prime Minister, because at the current rate of things, he's only setting up himself to be a failure. And I yield back the floor.
All right, well said, Melting Pot, right, as it relates to, talking about the equity in relief distribution. And we are going to go down in some of that, just to strengthen your argument, right, as it relates to, what the Prime Minister, right, is doing. The Prime Minister is the person who in charge of the country. And so then when you have his administration behaving like that, the Prime Minister has to take responsibilities right, of these failures, because he's at the helm. And to the fact that he's at the helm, right, the Prime Minister know very well, the Prime Minister being aware, right, that the distribution of relief is not done, has not been done in an equitable manner. And that is very, very serious. Melting Pot also touched that one of the critical thing that caused, right, the current situation as it relates to, many people still suffering today, is to the fact that, number one, the Prime Minister did not see consensus with the opposition. And so much of that is true, right? And as a result of that, it carries a ripple effect or a domino effect on the entire, right, readiness of the economy. As a result of that failure, that sort of partisan politics that the Prime Minister injected, right, in all of this, now it brings the situation in a very serious issue, where you see now the PSOJ is crumbling because they are losing profit, right? I mean, everything is just going haywire because of Andrew Holness, right? Did not do the right thing from the onset, right? Now, let us go into some of what, right, you just heard from Melting Pot. Now, you have journalists, right, been speaking out on the same thing, because the journalists have observed the very same thing and asking for checks and balance to the Prime Minister. Let us hear some of what Dean Jackson has to say. Listen, my Jamaican people, let us hear what Dean Jackson has to say. And so then when we are speaking on these things and highlighting these things, right, no, we are not just negatively critiquing the government, right? We are critiquing the government because we want people to get the necessary help. And the Prime Minister is just not doing that in terms of coming, to the forefront in being honest. All right, let us play that.
Still not enough transparency around the hurricane relief work and what is happening with supplies. Also, at this point, it doesn't look like the government have any intention of setting up an independent oversight committee anytime soon. I do have new information for you that we've learned. Also, some comment, my opinions on that new information. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Deon Jackson Miller. Time for tea. So the Public Administrations and Appropriations Committee, that's a PAAC, that committee of Parliament had its first meeting to look at the hurricane relief effort. And thank goodness for that, because we're just not getting enough detail coming out of the press conferences. Whole heap of PR and self-congratulation, and people are pat one another on the back, but not a lot of detail. Also, never enough time for questions, right? You always get this bag of long speeches. Everybody make these very long speeches that could be much, much tighter. And when time comes for questions, you hear say, boy, people have to go here, they have to go there, and you can only ask 2 questions or 1 question or bag of foolishness, right? The questions always seem like an afterthought at these press conferences. But you know something, when people appear before parliamentary committees, they have to answer questions though. So let's see what happened there. Now the PAAC met for about 6 hours, yes, 6 whole hours. So you know that's a whole heap of questions and answers, whole heap of information. So I am going to be doing a series of videos looking at the different things that came up. Some of the things I want to look at: generators, how those are being distributed, also the lack of broad-based input into the relief management process, also lack of communication with members of parliament when government agencies come into communities to do work, and lots more. So lots and lots of issues. Look out for the different videos. Let's start with a question from the chair of the PAAC, Peter Bunting. He's an opposition member because the PAAC, it's an oversight committee, and it's always chaired by a member of the opposition.
There is a concern, well, there's two concerns. One, we're a low trust society, and we've, I guess, relied a lot on, in the first phase, on people who are politicians, not necessarily MPs, but politicians, of ministers, junior ministers, councillors, etc. And people seem to have more faith if the distribution was being done by, say, the JDF in some systematic way. And I've heard a lot of concerns that in this particular crisis, the JDF seem to have had a much less visible role anyway. I'm not saying they may not have had a role somewhere, but in terms of seeing them out in the disaster, in the hard hit areas and being very visible and being in the vanguard of the immediate relief distribution, the average person just didn't see that. And I have checked with all my colleagues, especially those in the West who were hard hit. And it really took a while for them to get a good JDF presence in their communities.
All right, look here. I have huge respect for the Jamaica Defense Force, the JDF, that's our army, right? Huge respect for the engineers, their technical capability, what they can do. Huge respect. But it's because we rate them so much, why me and other people couldn't understand why they weren't on the ground more during that very early stage, doing more stuff. Here's what the Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM Commander Alvin Gale, said. He's an army man.
Once the blow had ended, JDF teams would have been deployed to get into spaces. I recall that we took almost 48 hours to be able to get into the Black River space, just based purely on the devastation which was around. So it wasn't for want of not being out there on the ground and trying to get into spaces, but just the general conditions on the ground that prevented us from being immediately in all those devastated spaces. Once we were to get into certain locations, they would have started setting up, as I've done out in Luan and other spaces now, or centralized JDF hubs or forward operating bases so we can reach into the communities. So that would have accounted for some delay in getting on the ground.
Boy, Commander Gale, respect boss, but I don't buy that answer. I maintain that there was not enough urgency in the early response, especially in the eastern Westmoreland area, which, if you remember, is where the hurricane made landfall, and that lack of urgency includes the JDF.
And secondly, there is a concern that this is a concern around accountability, that there's hundreds of millions of dollars that have come in the first few weeks, probably. I don't know. I'm not getting a day-to-day tracking of it, but it's probably no billions in terms of relief given by private sector, given by various relief agencies and global NGOs and other governments and so on. But where is the system to track all this and to bring some, not just dignity, but some order to how, and accountability to how this is being done?
I've been saying this. There just isn't enough transparency around how the relief effort is going on and how the relief supplies are being used, right? At the press conferences, we do get some information, but we tend to get these very big.
I think we heard as much, right? And the bottom line of all of this, right, in terms of what we have been listening to, right? The fact of the matter is the Andrew Holness response, right, in terms of shifting, right, the admin structure from ADPEM, changing the institution head. For whatever the motives are, I don't know. But basically, we talk about checks and balance. And this is the very same thing that Dean Jackson is speaking about from very early. I am one of the persons who were talking about an inventory management system. Because so many items going into ADPEM and so many items going out, we don't know where they are going. And there is no form of tracking system, you understand, to capture all of that movements. And all that you have been hearing now, you understand, not only one MP complaining on the opposition side that there is no fairness as it relates to the distribution of relief, that you have members of parliament and the opposition, as it relates to the government, right, being marginalizing as it relates to the relief aid. And remember, the leader, if the leader, right, is now behaving like this, then, I mean, you're going to have a situation where 1 month, right, post Melissa, and we are still in limbo. Still in limbo as a result of the policies of Andrew Holness. I have to blame Andrew Holness. Andrew Holness is at the helm. But are you surprised though? That's the question I'm asking. Are you surprised based on the history of dishonesty with Andrew Holness? We go back and we will repeat to show people the pattern of behavior, to say that, okay, he is the person who ensured that none of his subordinates signed the code of conduct. He lead out that mission. You have seen in his administration the amount of persons under investigation as it relates to Andrew Holness' administration. Never before in the history of our politics. Now, and let me say this now. I want to know if we are sowing the seed of misinformation. Never before, my people, right, both locally and in the diaspora who are listening to us. Never before in the history of our politics that you have this one administration where you have more than 10 of his member of parliament under investigation. It has never, ever, ever, ever happened in the history of our politics. Never. Why Andrew Holness? Why Andrew Holness? Because all of that is defining this person. Who is Andrew Holness? When you look at all of that, when you look at the history of the politics, right, and realize that Andrew Holness' administration acted unprecedentedly in terms of wrongdoing, where you have so many. We are not saying that, okay, corruption don't exist, you understand, between both aisles, but we are talking about the level of corruption. So don't believe that we are being biased. No. But we are saying that you have never had before, right? We are, all right. If you're talking about from Bustamante, it never happened. If you talk about Edward Seaga, it just never happened. If you talk about Bruce Golden, it just never happened. If you talk about Hugh Shearer, it just never happened. But speak about Andrew Holness. Speak about Andrew Holness. It's just believe you me, so many incidents, many of which we have not heard about. Jamaican people, let me tell you something. If you ever go on the IC website, you'll shock. Many of them and the issues as it relates to Andrew Holness' administration, as it relates to corruption. If you go on the website, go on the IC website, and you look, you will see as it relates to from 2016 coming down. Trust me, more than 50 reported cases of corruption. I'm not asking the people. This is terrible. Terrible. And if you go back, as way back, to understand the history of the corruption, you have never seen it before. I've never seen it before. Unprecedented. So when they are talking about now, okay, or the system of marginalization, right, is Dean Jackson Miller, right, asking the wrong questions? No, because she observed that. When Zara Burton asks question in that light, right, is she asking the wrong question? No. When other persons like YouTube, journalists, right, and critical thinkers asking these questions, right, we are not being biased. It is no misinformation. It is no disinformation. And while I'm at it, talking about misinformation and disinformation, look on these clips to see if what Dean Jackson Miller is speaking about as it relates to the marginalization of relief, right? Look on these clips that I'm going to present. Honey, let us begin in terms of presenting those clips, right? Look on these clips, people, and you can now, just make your own judgment, right? So no one is telling any lies on Andrew Honest. No, we are calling a spade as we see them.
We know what happens to all this money and supplies. The most loving thing we can do for the devastated victims of Hurricane Melissa is to call out foolishness, call out incompetence, call out thiefness right now, not 2 years down the line. The most unifying thing we can do right now is to look beyond the bag of words being spewed all over the place and look at what is actually happening, and to make noise and call it out when the two don't match. No, look, I'm not the only person to raise this. A lot of
call a spade. Call it out. When we see the wrongdoing, call it out. When we see the bugger approach, call it out, Dean Jackson, right? And we are also encouraging other journalists, right? Mainstream media, right? Stop the polarizing politics, right? We need to hold up the society, hold up the fabric of the society, right? Call it out. You have many persons as it relates to civil society who have seen these things, observed these things, and afraid to speak out. But that silence is what encourages this sort of behavior to continue. In other countries, I know for sure that Andrew Holness, not having his statutory declaration certified, consistently 3 years, consecutively speaking, would have allowed, right, to do even any campaign, what sense run. Other countries, people would get out in the street and say, no, we are not going to have it. We are not going to allow this to happen. We can't set a precedence to say that corruption is okay and such behavior. We should tolerate such behavior. The PSOJ, silent. But we know the reason why they're silent. The umbrella group of church, silent. We know why they're silent. I observe, as it relates to the humanitarian condition that really dispel within such development of the aftermath of the hurricane. I noticed that Jamaica for Justice, let me call them out, is not speaking on the humanitarian issues or the crisis that they have observed. They're silent. So I am wondering, J&J, Jamaica for Justice, what is your focus? What is your objective? What is your mandate? What is your mandate? We are not hearing you. Dead silent. Are you exhibiting your political biasness? I don't know. But let us look at some more clips. Look at this. Look at some more clips. And let us see if what we are saying that we are showing misinformation and disinformation. Now let us look at this, people. It's crazy.
Thank you, Leader of the Opposition, fellow colleague, members of Parliament. Good morning. I want to first start off by thanking the charitable organizations that have come on board and have played a role in this hurricane. They have done more than the government. And I'm ashamed to say that I represent a constituency in Westmoreland that we're a part of the government, we're a part of the country. And at the same time, private sector, private individuals, charitable organizations have done more than the government of the land. 1 month, it's almost a month, I think there is a month that we went through the hurricane. 4 weeks from now, it is Christmas. I have over 1,000 homes that have been lost, gone, and probably around 5,000 to 6,000 other citizens that the Hurricane Melissa have affected. And I ask myself the question every day as a member of Parliament, and I know my colleagues do also, when we get up in the morning. How are you going to help all of these 6 to 7, 10,000 Jamaicans that have been affected? And in terms of the assessment that is going on, I called last week, I spoke to an individual, I spoke to the manager, and I asked a question. I said, are there any assessment that is taking place in Western Westmoreland? And the answer is yes, they went to 2 areas. And I said, tell me the 2 areas that you went to. And he listed the 2 areas. And those 2 areas were not the 2 areas that were basically the areas that were damaged beyond recognition. And I see where the assessment now that is taking place in communities that basically supported the Jamaica Labour Party. All I'm saying is we can't do things so ad hoc. We are all in this together, both PNP, JLP, NOMP. We are in this together as a country. And, you know, I want to get back to the assessment though, because the assessment leaves a lot of questions. It is said that you have that are volunteering to do the assessment across the constituencies that are damaged. I've asked the question, who are these volunteers? What are the criteria / requirement for each volunteer? So that even if we can put some individuals, civil society, church, and individuals, put them forward so that they can help in terms of speeding up the assessment. Look, I just think if we don't put back some of these Jamaicans, even give them a roof over their head between now and Christmas, we're going to face some headwinds in this country that we have never faced before. And why do I say that? To every home you go to in the country, there's a level of frustration that I've never seen before. People have lost everything. And there's the frustration is, when are we going to say, you know what, pick 100 of your citizens. And when you pick the 100 citizens, what about the rest? That going to turn against me as member of Parliament. What about those individuals? Because they need help too. How do you go ahead and pick the 100 to give 100,000? For me, I'm doing mine a little different. I'm giving each church one individual within that community that has been severely affected. I don't look at this thing as political PNP, JLP. So the church is going to get involved along with myself in terms of ensuring that we can pick 100 of our citizens. But picking 100 from 9 or 8,000 that have been affected, it's very difficult. You know, in terms of distribution, I've gone through the last couple of weeks disappointed as a Jamaican and as a representative of the people. You see ministers of government come in. You see ministers of government come in, you see government entity comes in. And they go to a particular area that you don't have damage in some of those areas that they go to give out, to distribute food to our citizens. All I'm saying is, look, we have to do better as a country. We have to do better as a government. It can't continue. It can't continue the way it has been going. People in their in my constituency, I don't know, since the hurricane, we've been getting a lot of rain. And most of our citizens are without a roof, without tarpaulin, just basically fending on their own. Can't help themselves, can't do nothing. The packages that are going around being distributed. People have gone out, they get one food package out, say probably around 3-4 weeks ago, and they haven't gotten any more help from the government. So there's no assessment. Food package is only 600 per MP. Thank God for the charitable organization. But look, I just want to appeal to the government. I just want to appeal to the government. Come on board with the elected officials. The elections are over. The elections are over. And this crisis allow you to think as a human and not as wear a hat as a political representative. It is that hard. There's a level of hardship that is in Western Jamaica. And I just want to say, look, make we ensure that over the next 4 weeks, we can ensure that we put as much Jamaicans back in their home with their roofs. We have to do that as a country. It can't continue, sir. Make we ensure we help some of these individuals, whether PNP or JLP, make we get together, government and opposition, working together in ensuring that we can serve the people of Western Westmoreland and the areas that have been damaged. Make we just stop all this foolishness now. You can't come in, Mike.
My Jamaican people, let us face the fact as it relates to the start of our deal. The Prime Minister placed the MPs under to perform miracle, nothing but miracle. So when an MP has to select 100 persons out of 8,000 to 9,000 persons in his constituencies, you're just fulfilling Pharaoh's action in the Bible of asking the Israelites to build straw without bricks.
To build bricks without straw.
To build bricks without straw. You're asking the Israelites to build bricks without straw. Well, Moses is asking you to have the building built without men. Let us see how you can do it. And we are saying to you, Andrew, on this, demonstrate to us how you are going to do it. Because you are heartless. And let me hit you with this again. This is serious as it relates to thousands of people are suffering from a Category 5 hurricane. And you look on them, right? And you are saying to the MP, $10 million per constituency, depending on the level of damages. For some who have minimal damage, they will only get 5,000. 5 million. You tell me, Prime Minister. So when you look at that, tell me where your priority lies, Andrew Owners. What I want to ask you, Andrew Owners, how could it be that a sign in Montego Bay, a welcome sign in Montego Bay, value $17 million? Another welcome sign in Negril that value $12 million. How could it be as it relates to your priority, where your priority lies, that when you look at the catastrophic damage that done as it relates to the hurricane pathway, you are saying to yourself, telling these men that yes, 10 million per constituency can suffice. Why? A little welcome sign in Montego Bay, Prime Minister. I want the world to listen to me tonight. Eh? So, as my wife said, we just hope say the sign they not damage, you know. It's the sign damage. So, like how the sign the damage now, how much you want to pay if you fix it, Prime Minister? If you pay $17 million, right, to erect that sign, and the sign got damaged now, how much you want to pay now if you fix it? Eh? While we are now giving people where their homes totally destroyed, giving the MP $10 million per constituency. Then Jamaica, you should assess him. You must know, Jamaica, if this is the man you want, or let me say it, or you want me to say it clearly, or you need to go out there and say enough is enough. Take away yourself, you demons. Get thee behind me, Satan. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. We say and we identify you as evil. You need a political exorcism. You need a political exorcism. I do believe that Father God himself is beating this man because we found him wanting. He is 100% pure evil. And then he's in Parliament acting as if he knows nothing. He's totally oblivious of what is taking place in the constituency as it relates to the relief of aid. And that, is that been happening? He is the orchestrator. Demons. Beelzebub. You sit on the right hand of Satan. You're Satan, perfect angel, Beelzebub. We come at you this morning. We chastise you in the name of God. Now, let us see if Ian Hales is telling lie. Let us see if Ian Hales is speaking the truth. Play the next clip on him and let us show it to the people of Jamaica and in the diaspora. Let us show it. Let us look.
This is how the Ministry of Labor and Social Security distribute food in Western Westmoreland. They find the JLP areas and they distribute food in the name of the government. Now look at this. Look at this. This is the Ministry of Labor and Social Security in Western Westmoreland distributing food. The Member of Parliament knows nothing about it. You see the level of partisan politics
that the JLP is playing as we speak? Look for yourself. Look for yourself, Jamaica. Look for yourself. Look for yourself. And they talk about good governance. Look for yourself. Government vehicle distributing food to only.
Take it away. Melting pot.
Yes, my
Please,
brother.
your input on this.
Well, this is just
Please decide this
partisan
man for you.
politics. Partisan politics with partisan distribution. And I mean, that is so wrong in the eyes of Jamaican at home and Jamaican in the diaspora. Because I can't believe, for the love of God, why Andrew Wallace decided to destroy the fabric of Jamaica in such a way. Because totally oblivious. What am I do? You understand? Because just look at the mere fact say a pastor and him daughter lose them life in a plane crash, bringing relief to Jamaica. And not even that send a message to Andrew Wallace. So many people, outside of Jamaica, put Jamaica at the center of their thought and in the process of their mind and go to them way and make things available come to Jamaica to be distributed amongst the Jamaicans who are affected. And Andrew Holness and him administration continue to play party politics. The fact of the matter that Ian Hales can, show the evidence in real time speaks volume to what we have said all along, Mystic. And I mean, we have been very critical of this practice all along because we were wise to the move, where Andrew Holness, put together. And so when you look at Andrew Holness, as the man in charge running the country, when you look at the JDF, as the army who's supposed to be Jamaica first response team, in the case of disaster. And when you look at Alvin Gale, the man who is commander at Penn, the three of them put together, now make one is a garbage heap of garbage waste we are looking on. Because 48 hours it take them to go into the affected region. Now when we look on disaster anywhere in the world, on the international side of things, we see how swift course of action have been utilized to get to people. So that in the case of search and rescue, you can do search and rescue. Not wait until after 48 hours, then it becomes a search and recovery in most cases. So we know them fail. The three entities fail the Jamaican people. The army, the government, and ADPEN, with Alvin Gale in charge. But the reality still stands. We have so much civil society group in Jamaica who it seems like they have, gone into some hiding or into some retirement because them vice don't exist. And I sure know if we can then in a diaspora and see and recognize and hear what is happening in Jamaica, them dep on the ground and them silent Byron. So you have to ask yourself the question, is civil society really civil society anymore? Or they are now becoming political, affiliated tools to the government? Because that's only, form of assessment I can put forward towards civil society group in Jamaica. If outsider can feel the urge and the need and have the sympathy and the empathy for these people, how come civil society group in Jamaica hide behind the 8 ball? Why? Because we know fully well, as the year Ian Hill said, and even Dan Jackson Miller in our, report, it shows a high level of corruption. Now, when you hear 4 weeks into since Melissa, and some place only get one drop off supply, it's bad. And there are several tons of supply in Jamaica that been given to the government to distribute to the people. But, we shouldn't be surprised. And I'm not being surprised because I want to scale, the corruption heights as it relates to the political spectrum in Jamaica. And as far as I can remember going back, into the 70s, I can recall that where corruption was, created was amongst the Jamaica Labour Party. We start to see crime and violence start to escalate, and it start from 76 election, ramp up there, so coming down to the 80s, it propelled itself where guns now was brought in, and people lives start to get disturbed. We lose 50 odd elderly, women, now the evening tide fire. And then we have some paramilitary people on the ground created by the Jamaica Labour Party. So the corruption really start from there, so where the corruption start to hit financial side of things now is when Edward Seaga borrowed 31 million. And say no member not about it. And we know where that cost. Alright. Coming back now further along, Hurricane Gilbert, sink and thing come at Jamaica to the people them. But people have them a sell. You want zinc to just leave country and come at town, downtown market, zinc a sell like wow. Cause which part of zinc them store, At the same Neville Gallimore warehouse with the industrial terrace. And most of the food supply was stored over by Antillean food processor and some same place at Gallimore warehouse. Why I can say that? I work as a security down there at the time. I work for Protector Security doing shift down there at the time. So I can speak of that particular circumstance. I mean, when you look and see certain people come and them just get the thing wagga wagga and we can't do nothing about it. Because we have to protect our life. Alright, we move from that period then our Seaga. And the next GLP administration that took place was Bruce Golding. Did he have corruption attached to him? Of course. Of course. Several. Because remember, First Rock took place under his leadership, The Dodo Saga and the loss of life down in the Tivoli incursion. Under Bruce Golding administration. And the high borrowing and disrespect of IMF under Bruce Golding administration. So we know the corruption ramp up there, so. But Andrew Wallace take it to a new level. To a heights that never seen before. Blatant. No regard, no respect for the law. Andrew broke every law, left, right, and center. Because remember, Andrew have some world record, but they're unwanted world record. The first administration to categorically decided they are not going to sign the code of conduct. The first administration to come with gag order. And we see a lot more we can discuss and debate. But we rather not get into it. Because Andrew Holness' resume is out there. Anybody who wants to look at it. So there. This guy cannot be certified from 1990 get people. Because I'm first submit to the Integrity Commission, yeah, was a hoax, lies, hiding wealth and asset. So from 1998, him cannot be certified up until now, 27 years going onward. Yeah, and we all know about him involvement in various Ponzi scheme. We all know about the resurrection of several shell company under his administration, but we know him responsible for them. We know all about the lies we him tell to vindicate, certain aspect in regards to the investigation. Yeah, but them fail on his part because nothing him said, nobody not believe in it because they were all proven to be lies. Yeah, we hear about some taxi company we never even exist and nobody hears. And we know everything where Andrew Wallace is concerned. Yeah, with the amount of bank accounts we have, yeah, and the amount of money we are run through them. Yeah, so where the corruption, scale and how it situates itself in a Jamaica political history. The People's National Party, we are not going to, say them have a clean slate. But no, we are compared to the Jamaica Labour Party. Because the People's National Party, as I said, practice a different manifesto. The philosophy of democratic socialism is to look about your people. Yeah? To provide for your people, to care for your people, to uplift your people, and to maintain peace and love amongst your people. And that is a principle that minimizes corruption to the extent that we see the Jamaica Labour Party exhibit. Remember, $3 trillion missing, yet cannot be audited. And we hear all type of hanky-panky gossip surrounding that. Late submission and all these things. Over 11 years, you have late submission. Come on. You cannot attribute late submission to 11-year period. You're crazy. Them people are mad. So we know all of that. We know about another special report that shows over 6 trillion missing between the period of 2010 up until 2025. And all these money are money that should be uplifting Jamaican people, spirit and them life. But this administration has found it very, very lucrative, yeah, to dip them finger into that cookie jar, wipe out the cookie jar clean. When I say clean, I mean clean, that them leave the country partially broke as we are speak right now. So the whole level of corruption, if them do it with the finance of the country, then expect them to do nothing different with the gift that come to the country. Because they're all axe chopper. You understand? The wheel them axe. Them like to chop. So just look at 6 trillion and 3 trillion unaccounted for through corruption. Then you are going to expect them people are going to spare the donation. Them not spare the donation. We say Andrew get over 1,000 generator and him live on the number. And if we never, put it out there and make the people know so well, and more than that amount of generator time get. Why Andrew try to thief the generator from the people? Because the donor country give them to distribute to the people in the affected area where there is no electricity, No donor not give no government nothing for themselves. And so Andrew always try to play devil's advocate with everything will come for the Jamaican people. And right through him administrative time, this is how him do. Remember the pandemic, Most of what come at Jamaica never given to Jamaicans, A few people, like what we say are going with this distribution. If you don't come from certain part in a society, if you don't represent certain party, you don't get nothing. Even to this present moment, burial 2024, people still hasn't benefited from burial donation, even though they suffer losses. So we know it's a continuous practice by Andrew Wallace and his administration. And so when you see, government vehicle out there I distribute, me not say government vehicle can out there distribute, but government vehicles supposed to go through every nook and cranny. They're supposed to just have visit certain place. Yeah? Because the right way to distribute these things, is to make sure every member of parliament who is affected, they have dialogue with them know when the relief supplier come, they make sure them that they present to receive the relief supply, and then it enough for them and then them know who them a give to it to distribute to the people. What ways and means of distribution when take place. But you make sure you send the supply to the member of parliament. You can't have unelected people doing the job of elected people. And we see that in the case of Mr. Charles and George Wright, aka George Wrong. We see them, and it happen elsewhere. But those are two primary cases where we can talk about because we have it on record. But we know it happen widespread throughout. Because this is how them like to operate, And even we hear it before even Melissa in a Portland, yeah? We hear say Anne-Marie Varda go still run things, even though she lost to ISAT. So we wonder what kind of country we have, what kind of society we create. Is it a society of equal rights and justice, or a society of inequality? Wagwan. Because me I look on the latter, inequality. It's like our people, we don't have the same matter out of many one people. It's like some of a different matter. So we have to ask the question. Andrew Holness is always at the center of these controversy. Because him around the country, Him in charge of everything, Him are the poster boy for dictatorship in the Caribbean region. Because him align himself to several dictators worldwide. We know that. So him like to utilize this type of initiative in our society and utilize it in a way where it does take you overnight, down upon you. You don't even realize. But we are telling people them long time say, wake up and smell the coffee. This guy is a recipe for disaster in the country. This Andrew Holness guy. He is a recipe for disaster. Because, we are men that are not prescribed to God. Then evil thing will befall upon a society. And that's why Jamaica suffer right now. Because God not strive round Andrew Holness, because he's a mythical God, so him call himself bro God. Yeah. So the Heavenly Father who create heaven and earth and who give breath to man, not strive round Andrew Holness. Because Andrew Holness distant himself from God and call himself bro God. We see Andrew as a leader in a certain situation. Unbelievable when I get bad from him head to him foot by a man who cut people throat. That's the said government have to get rid of the man Kevin Smith. So what kind of leaders we have in the country? A demonic leader? A man when not see the spiritual side of life? Then wicked things that must befall upon Jamaica, man. So Jamaica need a change. Umbrella group of churches, we're calling unto you to rebuke this evil Pharaoh who you align yourself with. Jamaica for justice. Where is the justice? Have you seen and heard the injustice? How long you think you can remain silent before we call you out? Because a melting pot and a mystic sensation and a weird lonesome. I go call you out, So me want to know if we have to wait till we call you out before no act in accordance as it relates to injustice in the society. The distribution of welfare must be done on a fair basis without any political intervention. in terms of partisan distribution. So we want the people that see themselves as part of civil society to act civilized and in a moral way where you think of your fellow Jamaica as yourself. And I yield back the floor.
Well said. Well said. I mean, well said, Melting Pot. Love the punches. Now, Pot, you know, just on the same vein that you're on, right? Now, we are just going to demonstrate how hypocritical Andrew Holness is. Now, my brother Melting Pot, you remember when Azan, right, took out of his own pocket, because Azan at the time understand the plight of the people, right, that they were in the naked sun, right, facing the bare element. And as compassionate that Azan was, right, didn't utilize any form of procurement procedure, right? He took it out of his own personal pocket and built some shed for these people. But the way how Andrew Holness internalize it, because that's the way how they think. They believe that, you know, Azan is using that to gain political momentum, so they attacked him, right? And they accuse Azan of all sorts of things. But a lot of people don't know that during the period of time when Andrew Holness accused Azan, right, of wrongdoing, Andrew Holness was under investigation.
True.
Andrew Holness himself, right, was getting himself involved in all sorts of corrupted behavior. Andrew Holness himself was doing all the wrongdoing. Why? Andrew Holness, Desmond McKenzie, right? I think what? Horace Strong and
Bernal Charles,
and Babsy Grange,
right,
were crucifying Azan to say that if Portia Simpson does not, right, fire Azan, they are going to resign. That's what came out of Andrew Holness' mouth. Right? That Azan must resign. Now, Mr. Prime Minister, let me ask you a question. You told me and all other Jamaicans that the onus is on my shoulder, that when I see a government doing wrong, we must call them out. That's what you said, Prime Minister. Right? I am here today calling you out. Now, since you wanted Azan to resign, and Azan only purchased a couple shed, right? Did some good, because you don't like when people do good enough. You like when people do evil. And you award people for doing evil. Let me give you some example of the people who you award for doing evil. Because I'm not telling any lie on you. This is not misinformation or disinformation. I am saying that you hate when people do good. You chastise Azan because Azan feel the need, right, being sympathetic and empathetic, right, knowing that those persons who were selling in the sun exposed to the full element and provide some shelter for them. And guess what? You attacked him. Now, you have a Christopher Tufton who damaged the healthcare, who you know definitely damaged the healthcare, hurt a lot of people. And what he did? What he did? You gave him order of distinction. Not only that, you knew very well that Glassport Brown aiding and abetting you to steal the election. What did you do? You gave him order of distinction. Prime Minister, am I lying? Is this misinformation or disinformation? Am I lying? Prime Minister, I put it to you that you are currently in court with Buchanan, reflecting the truthfulness of which I just spoke. Am I lying? And I put it to you that based on the evidence that appears that Paul Buchanan is going to become victorious. Then I put it to you, Prime Minister, that if Paul Buchanan becomes victorious, it is 100 proof to you that Glasspool Brown aided and abet you in stealing your seat and others. I don't know what Glasspool Brown is going to tell Jamaica when you lose that case. On social media, we are going to hang him up. So tell him to prepare for us. Tell him to prepare for from now. And when we said hang him up, we mean virtually hang him up. We don't want nobody to believe say no, we physically a plan. Because we know how them stay now. Spin doctor them. You hear over Big Mama and Charles Davis. Do you hear them? Do you hear them on social media? Very aggressive against. They are planning to hang up. You understand? Glasspool Brown. Someone could tackle that from them.
Right.
We are speaking virtually. You understand? So who want to run with that? You know, them are looking. Them are waiting for something dropping. Someone could correct yourself.
Yeah.
So Jamaica, watch this now. So I am showing the hypocritical behavior of Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister. And the pattern of behavior with the Prime Minister that we call MO, modus operandi. Now, watch this, people. This is Andrew Holness. Now, play this on it. Let us show the hypocriticalness of Andrew Holness, the hypocritical behavior. Now, Mama Portia went to Africa. And I tell you, Andrew Holness drag her in the street, drag her in the mud, do all sort of things with him criticism. Listen to this, people. Look on Sister Portia. Loving our people. Beautiful mama. Love the woman. Look there. Oh my, what a blessing.
Family, Jamaica needs answers. Because the same Andrew Holness who once erupted in Parliament over Portia Simpson Miller's trip to Africa is the same Andrew who has now packed his bags and flown to Africa himself. And suddenly, everything is quiet. Make it make sense. Jamaica, let's rewind the tape, because Andrew Holness never expected the receipts to come back and haunt him.
And I appreciate what you say, because the African blood runs deep in me as well. Not you. The African blood runs in all of us. But it is time that we, as black people, realize that if we are going to get progress, that we must start to use our resources in wise ways. So if we spend $6.5 million to go to Africa, the Prime Minister should come here and say, yes, I struck an economic deal with Ethiopia or Nigeria or South Africa.
Years ago, when Portia Simpson Miller traveled to Africa, Andrew Holness stood up in Parliament and created pure chaos. He lectured the House. I would have loved to have heard the Prime Minister say she struck an economic deal, not just come here to tell me about ancestors. He declared, African blood runs in all of us, but we must use our resources wisely. He insisted, if you spend $6.5 million to go Africa, come back with trade agreements. not stories.
Mr. Speaker, let me say this, that the $6 million that we spend flying, hold on.
On a point of order, a point
Hold on. Not even a point of order. I was on my feet making a point, and I would like to continue, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order.
I would like to continue, and I ask the House Leader to allow me. I ask the House Leader to allow me. Please, allow me. Allow me, House Leader. Let me finish my point.
He even fought down the speaker. No, I'm not giving up the floor. All because Portia went to Africa. Fast forward to today. Now that Andrew himself has flown to Africa, suddenly, no uproar, no accountability, no economic explanation, no trade agreements, no justification, no transparency. Every criticism he threw at Portia, he has ignored.
I want to finish the point. Mr. Speaker, as I said, in response to the intervention by the House Leader, if the Prime Minister, having had these answers prepared and foresight of them, which I did, if the answers are there, she could have said it. Is that the 6.5 million spent on traveling to pay respect to ancestors could have been spent at Pinnacle. And that is where you would be paying respect to ancestors. Mr. Speaker, if it is that you want to just travel to pay respect to ancestors, you could spend it at Pinnacle.
And Jamaica, listen carefully. While Andrew flew out, the country is still reeling after Hurricane Melissa, leptospirosis cases rising, communities still flooded and damaged, people homeless, people hungry, entire parishes suffering. Yet Andrew Holness left the country in the hands of Dr. Horace Chang, the sleeping minister. So if Andrew gone, Jamaica basically asleep until he returns. Instead of leading recovery at home, Andrew put the country on full stop so that he and his family could take an international trip. When a simple Zoom meeting could have accomplished everything.
Now, melting pot.
Yes, my brother.
Me no say, when you want me and you, they go hammer him, you know. So hold on the melting pot. They go sledge him up, you know. Hold on the melting pot. Just hold on. We could just get all of the evidence, you know. Because we are going to deal with him, you know. Now, play the next clip on it. We're not ready for unpack yet. Now let us play the next clip.
And the region is now ripe for investment. But for decades, other countries benefited from the profits of investing in the region, in CARICOM. Now we're at a stage where we need to renew infrastructure. Jamaica, for example, we've been hit by a Category 5 hurricane. I don't know if you experience hurricanes here, I doubt it, but certainly terrible storms. And the only way to describe what hit Jamaica would be to say that an atomic bomb of wind and rain hit Jamaica. It tore every leaf off the tree, stripped it as if, winter passed through the forest. It flattened 150,000 homes or impacted them in some ways, 900,000.
Oh, him over there, they beg. On his knees.
Passionate, eh?
And did not get a dime. Now hold on. Let me ask this question. Because he critiqued Portia Simpson. Right? Because Portia Simpson went to Africa, met with all the black leaders, powerful black leaders, and he believed that that sort of trip, right, shouldn't have done. Now, and he's saying that Portia Simpson, the $6.5 million that Portia Simpson used to do the trip, right, could have gone somewhere else. right, that meaningful to the economy, this piece of the economy as according to him. Let us ask him now. Portia Simpson exhibited, let us put it in perspective now for the Jamaica Labour Party administration. One, Portia Simpson exhibited transparency in giving the detail of the cost, $6.5 million. Portia Simpson did not hide it. Andrew Honest, let me ask you a question. How much did you spend to go to Africa? How much? To show you that you lack transparency, all now, nobody know.
But the thing about it, remember, it took his family. Who paid for the family? Because it's not...
Talk on it. Speak.
Because the family would not be on official business. He,
exactly.
The Prime Minister, is the one who's on official business. We should only be paying for him. So I wonder who paid for them.
Good question. He brought his entire entourage. Right? How much? How much did you spend, Prime Minister Andrew Honest? Come and tell the people, because remember, you know, we show you in Parliament critiquing Portia Simpson, right? And we should know the figure as it relates to how much she spent to go to Africa. How much did you spend to go to Africa? And yet, why didn't you use the resources? Other than you go to Africa, you could have done a Zoom meeting as what the person said. Right? So then let me ask you a question, Prime Minister. You did not see that all of that money that you are using could be spent, right, as it relates to the situation that we are experiencing with the hurricane. Right? You know what I'm saying? The money could have spent this up. Eh? You couldn't take a page out of Mark Golden's book. Let me embarrass you. Mark Golden personally, you understand, took money out of personal earnings and put as it relates to the hurricane situation. How much have you spent so far? Come let me talk to you now, Andrew Honest. How much have you spent out of your pocket? But you dip in a taxpayer's money, right? You take it down to Africa, right? And we don't know. We're not supposed to know. Then if we're not supposed to know, were you supposed to know the amount that Portia spent? Were you supposed to know the amount of Portia spent? But Portia Simpson, you understand, deals with transparent. Portia Simpson deals with transparency. She's an open book. But how much have you spent, Prime Minister? You want to tell me? Because we can guarantee you, you know, Prime Minister, that you spend more than the $6.5 million. You know? Way more. But you don't want to come out and talk. And as a matter of fact, we see Rhoda Crawford, right? Gone somewhere else when she's supposed to die in Jamaica, and I help out. Right? Dana Morris, the whole of them. So this is how you behave. The dictatorship, the dictator style. Me no done with you yet, in a Prime Minister. Me no done with you yet. Now, before we touch him, let me just make melting pot, hammer him on a piece because me have one next nice piece of meat for him. So melting pot, squeeze and come in at this.
All right, let me squeeze and come in, you know. I mean, I come from the top, you know. You see, when time him run out from Azan, yeah, that was a wake-up call to Jamaicans, you know, looking to this guy whole, you know, situation as it relates to him being a thin-skinned individual, a guy who like to tear down people project, but uplift Fame One even when Fame One them not have the standard and the substance of the other people thing where I tear down. Because here was Azan trying to add to the civic pride of Jamaica, yeah, in a civil way.
Exactly.
And him and the entourage where you name out, the whole set of them were a criminal where we know. Call it a dark day and say them a go resign if Portia not act. You understand? Well, Portia being the modest type of leader she is, she act. And so they get what they want. But I've seen the same type of behavior and nobody disturbed them and what them was doing. Because remember, Anne-Marie Vaz was doing road work before she becomes a member of parliament, you know. Wasn't that so, Byron?
Exactly.
All right. And these type of behavior, yeah, we cannot condone it. We have to burn it out. You understand? Because a garbage behavior them there. Now, we see him do it in a several other, you know, area. But we are going to touch down in Africa now. Yeah? Now, Portia Simpson Miller went to Africa, yeah, to pay homage and respect to our ancestors, right? And I know Portia Simpson had left a lasting legacy, and those children that I saw was embracing her and hugging her. Because kids will always retain memories from them childhood days, even when them growing to adult, and them can say they met the Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Yes.
What type of memory in terms of legacy Andrew Wallace leave when him go down there with you? A begging legacy? God, that's all it was. Because remember, I know, Andrew Wallace chose to embark upon this so-called invitation mission. But we see him carry out the entire whole in his family. Yeah? And I know if you use the maths available, back in them time, the Porsche spent 6.5. I know Andrew Wallace thing. You have to times that by about 5 or how much people him carry, because I'm carrying him wife and him 2 sons. I don't know if there were other delegation party member. But them spend over 40 million to 50 million. Yeah? Just roughly calculating the expense. About 40 to 50 million. We could have do a lot more, yeah, good in a Jamaica at a critical point in time. When Portia left, she never left the country in a disaster. She left the country in a good health. She never left a sleeping deputy prime minister, you know. She left a vibrant, sprightly deputy prime minister. So the whole idea Andrew Wall is trying to destroy people project, it is showing itself, yeah, to everyone who this guy is. Just look at how him attack Portia Simpson and the Operation Pride houses when he was being a sale representative for the Edmund Ridge estate. But what have we seen in contrast? The Operation Pride that he refers to as Operation Shame stood the test of time of a Category 5, and they have more value because they are real houses. Edmund Ridge could not withstand Category 5 because they were not real houses. They were prefabricated shambolic houses. Yeah? So we like for us, you know, analyze this guy in real time and prove to society the type of individual Andrew Wallace is. Yeah? Andrew Wallace is a guy that is very repulsive, you know. Him
Very.
act on impulse. You understand? And so the ego where him have always get better on him. I'm tell him all the while, you know, but him head thick, him not learn. You know? Andrew coming like a stubborn donkey when him dig him heel, him no move, you know. Because this guy like to have him one way. But if you're not capable, how we are going to make you have your own way? We can't allow you to carry down the country in our precipice. God will allow you with the country and that's how you head with it. We know how to look upon you as a destructive element in a society and move you. And come December the 8th, will be a revelation in that agenda. Because the process will begin and commence. And you have to leave the space yeah, at the request of justice and your cronies them who aided and abetted you in the process, like Tadpole Brown, yeah, aka Tadpole Green. Cause me not call him no glass pole, you know. Cause glass pole, Florizel glass pole are one of the best governor general. I have the privilege of shaking his hand, yeah, when I received my award from him at King's House Land. So I now go call this piece of shit, yeah, glass pole. Yeah, it's Tadpole Brown, aka Tadpole Green. Member say my ballot to answer to, you know. Never in the history of Jamaica where the EOJ office is found in breach of putting ink in the hands of an unscrupulous member of society on the eve of a general election. But then again, we see the same guy pick up a OD award, order of distinction in corruption, in rigging and fixing an election. And most that it mean? Yeah, I mean order of Jamaica, you know. Yeah. This guy get an award for order of distinction in corruption, in fixing and rigging an election. I remember we have other people too. Zongo Chu, we don't want to, you know, deal the deck right now. But many more people, they behind it. Yeah, like one big nasty washer woman will come from India. We soon go further into that. So when we look on the Andrew Holness administration, yeah, it is filled with corruption. Right up to the neck. There is not one that you can, when you wave the magic one, there's not one that the magic one will select and say, no, that one are clean. All of them dirty. Nasty and staining a corruption. This is how the party administrates itself, because remember, you know, Andrew is a cunning fox, you know. When I say a cunning fox, I mean a cunning fox. So you think Andrew, I go just go down on him own terms, him alone, I carry the whole of them with him. The whole of them are going with him. That's why I'm not asking all of them. That's why I'm telling them do not sign the code of conduct. We're not, they're not practicing good behavior in a parliament as a government. We are going to ravish the society with criminality. And so it is no coincidence that 3 trillion gone missing from under the same administration. We don't sign the code of conduct.
Exactly, Pat. Exactly.
So we have to just, you know, use the various yardstick and measure them. Because if you add 1 and 1, you don't get 11, you must get 2.
All right.
So we know them play them game. Yeah? So what Andrew Wallace do? Him come up with a package, you know. A real package. It's better than when you book a holiday package all inclusive. This your package where Andrew Wallace offer to them your garbage where him have in his cabinet was a package that allowed them to operate as criminal without being charged using Strat 5 and the commission of them. So everybody knew that they were in a situation where it was a win-win for them. Yeah, based on how Andrew said the thing, it was a win-win. All of them was just lavishing in corruption money, getting themselves wealthy than them salary can afford them. And then what they do? They play the chronic corruption package where them have to roll out to them a business entrepreneur. Them never come in a politics with them credential there. So we elect you for work for we. In the same time you run business. And not one, not two, several businesses, all of them are run. All of them are business entrepreneurs, you know. So they're a part of the private sector organization as well.
And that's a fact.
This is why the private sector organization don't say nothing about them, because the whole of them operate on the same play field, using the same blueprint of corruption. They are not just elected representative of the people. They are part of the PSOJ. They all have business. From apartment, gas station, supermarket, nightclub, trucking. By God Almighty, me I tell you, the list too big. The list too big. So we now have to look upon this administration as a failure. One that cannot continue to operate in Jamaica. One that the people must come as one and put an end to this lopsided, lackadaisical leadership we have in the country. A leadership that does not respect its own law. Don't even respect the sovereignty of the country. You understand? And when you have a leader that don't respect the sovereignty of the country that I'm leading, you know you have a man that can only be looked at as a dictator and a disaster. And so we cannot continue with the Andrew Wallace-led administration. Enough is enough, my Jamaican people. Because when you suffer, and when you cry, when you feel the pain of hunger and starvation, Andrew Wallace is relaxing, watching match at National Stadium and then flying out on the back of that match to South Africa. So this guy was having a whale of a time. While many of my Jamaican people were having to sleep outside, in the cold, in the dark, hungry, thirsty, being in a state of mind of disrepair. Because when they looked to the east, there was no help coming from the east to the west. And so, what can I say? More than enough is enough. Time to pack your bag and go, Andrew. You has to go. And your time is just around the corner. And I yield back the floor to my brother.
Young Babylon one more time. Come we go chant down wicked man one more time. Because them soft. We know them soft. Them soft. We know them soft. Come we go chant down Babylon one more time. Now, melting pot. Watch this. Look
Yes,
where we
my
are
brother.
now. Where we are going now, we are going to expose the belly of the wickedness. To show you how vindictive and cruel and callous this man is. Now look on this. And I want people to listen to what is happening here and what being stated here. To show you the vindictiveness. But listen to this. That this Prime Minister acting mockery of his own actions and his own poison. Listen to this. Act in his own mockery. Listen to this, people.
In the debate on the bill establishing the new Integrity Commission, the Prime Minister Andrew Holness then said, and I quote, "As a politically independent country, we could have achieved much more were it not for corruption in many forms. Revenue leakage. That's 2017. Revenue leakage due to corrupt practices, misuse of public funds, and the overall perception of pervasive corruption, all of which have served to compromise the flow of investment into our country." Listen to this, Alvin. All of which have served to compromise the flow of investment into our country. End quote. Now, this helps explain why net foreign direct investment in 2023 is less than half what it was in 2015. It is less than half. It is less than half what it was. You know, that's like pushing a knife 6 inches into somebody's back, pulling it out two inches and then celebrating, right? The net, listen to the data. Listen to the data. Net foreign direct investment in 2023, World Bank statistics, 376 million. In 2015, it was 926 million, right? Clearly, corruption has compromised the flow of investment into our country, based on the Prime Minister's statement. The Prime Minister continued. The Prime Minister continued, and I quote, "The Economic Growth Council has also recently identified corruption as a significant retardant to growth," end quote. But let me repeat that. Prime Minister Andrew Holness continued, quote, "The Economic Growth Council has also recently identified corruption as a significant retardant to growth," end quote. Now, colleagues, we understand why, notwithstanding all the economic and fiscal reforms implemented since 2013, growth is so elusive. The PM signaled it. Corruption. The PM signaled it. Corruption. But let me continue. In his message to commemorate International Anti-Corruption Day in 2020, the Prime Minister stated, and I again quote, "Under the leadership of Chairman the Honorable Justice Seymour Panton, the Commission continues to distinguish itself, operating without fear or favor, in pursuit of a just and corruption-free public sector, and ensuring the best and most efficient use of public resources," end quote. What a full-throated and unqualified endorsement of the Integrity Commission and its leadership under Justice Panton.
Let me take the call. No, stop it and hold it, because we have to get back to that clip. Now, my wonderful caller, you're on Mystic Sensation. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Mystic Sensation, to you and your wife, a melting pot.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
Thing with Andrew Holness and his government. If he only knew how people in the diaspora, and I'm sure many other country leaders are looking at him, he would step down. It is an utter disgrace. People like me are melting pot, because I think melting pot lives in the UK, would say he's taking the PISS. He's taking the mick out of the people. Them. It's genocide. There is no other word to describe what's going on. It's genocide. Yes? The aid that has come into your country, it could probably stock the country for 2 years if it was shared fairly and equally without people having to go to shop. What is he doing with it? Why is he storing it? But I tell him something, right? The people are looking in from the outside. And if he continues, people are going to be complaining to the United Nations, because there's things that people can do, you know. So if he thinks that he can take the aid for the people, have them living in all kind of condition, the diseases that are spreading. They won't buy ordinary antibiotics, or the hell them go buy antibiotics now to give the people that really need it. It is an utter disgrace. And him and him Alibaba them want get an aeroplane, get one of British Airways or Virgin, put the whole 49 of them in the plane and let them go in the Atlantic Ocean. Them is a disgrace. And that man is so like, sometimes when he's talking, and I listen, I say, why Father God won't fast in tongue and him for him out? Yeah, that man is so like, Belting Mystic.
Yes,
I am British born. My parents are Jamaican descendants. My mom and dad is gone. But I'm telling you something, only God knows how it pains me. How it pains me to see what Andrew Holness is doing with the country. Well, he's done it anyway, but now that this disaster has occurred, him is using like genocide over the people they made. It is, to be honest, I will forever, I think I mentioned it on your show as well before, I call him Hitler number 2.
I think you're right.
You call him Hitler number 2.
You're correct.
Right? And when them done with him, when United Nations come in, we don't want no pian, we want proper lawyer come in, yes, and give him a trial like Nuremberg trial. If you get a Nuremberg style trial, the man is evil, the man is wicked. But I say this to him and I say this to his wife. Remember, Juliet, you is a mother. Remember, Andrew Holness, you're supposed to be a father, but let I tell you this tonight. I pray to the Almighty that him put on the sit down, you and your wife, put you to sit down. Make sure your faculties is up there so you damn well know what's going on. And when the destruction take you pity them and your grand pity them, you tie your belly and say, oh Father God, ease them. But he's not going to ease them because the sins of the parents fall down by the second and the third generation. And so help me God, I would like to be your second or third generation. You're like evil man. You're evil. Look what you do with the people in Jamaica. Look what you do to the country. You get in down to Japanese people that come talk with it when they might trust them and city when them sending. They're talking about it. They're talking about it. The aid that is coming in from England up to yard, white yard, they say a 140-foot container, like I said. But in changed their mind to send 2 because people are frightened to send things down there because them are take what they think them and give it to the government. The people them is not getting it, and it's wrong.
Wow.
It's wrong. Me send down 3 barrels that you know and to help me God. Me a fret. So that when it reach the wharf, them don't thief out the things then. Because I have a thing, I'm going to say this, melting pot can back me up here now. In England here, them things say the money depend the tree out the door. We don't have no money out the tree, out the door. Right? And when melting pot and my mom came to this country, my mother used to tell me, so when she go work sometime, them have to follow the land because Fago, they are kill them. Them can't ask where them go. The busman or somebody have one land and they follow the land to go where they go. So people in this country don't have it easy. We are the second generation, so yes, because our parents, God has made life a lot easier for us. And our parents have put us in that light. So when them are going to take with people things from Canada, America, and all them places, they don't have the teeth in wharf there in the airport. Yeah? People don't have it easy. People got them bed hungry in this country. Yeah? And they're going to take with people things. It's not right. It's wrong. And Andrew Holness not saying on the Darazadi in like Clinton red. No, it's very, very bad. People are frightened. We are frightened. If you have your money and you put it at the bank, because I know somebody too, them have a few penny there and then take when the money to far and nobody can tell who closed the account and nobody can't tell you where the money gone.
So
The corruption of the corruption in that country, it is so bad. We the natives, well, we the children of the Jamaica natives, i.e. the seniors, we're scared of that country. We're frightened. You come in at the airport, then take where you're sitting, then dig up your bag. If you're not mind sharp, 3/4 your baggage got and you don't, and there is nobody to ask because them have you go round. And if you tell them some qualities in thing in there now, then walk and bring them police by you. It's wrong. It's wrong. It is wrong from left, right, and center. And until them get rid of this Labour government where them having, that country will be going nowhere forward.
there you go.
That country will be going nowhere forward because it is corrupted from the top to the bottom.
Oh yes.
It is corrupted from the top to the bottom. If you do have a few lawyers, and if you do have a few barristers, and if you do have a few judges that would do their job honestly, yeah, they are tied by the rest because and all this buy them out. It's wrong, you know. The more this thing unfolded since Melissa. And to all this don't know how Jamaica looks to the diaspora. And I am sure if the truth is known, you have a lot of heads of state that are just looking at him and shaking him in the head. He is a damn disgrace to call himself Prime Minister. Then one carry him backside up in a one plane and drop it down in the Atlantic Ocean. Wow. Not drop it in the land, drop it in the mix. So you have to go down. He's wicked. What he's doing is genocide. I would call it diplomatic genocide.
100%.
When the PNP them pressure him, him don't like it. Him wife the remember who? Remember who? You know them is such a disgrace. Mistake, melting pot, and your dear one who will continue the good work because somewhere, somehow, it's got to come down. When them bring him down, we don't want no trial and no Jamaica. We want a Nuremberg trial like what them did do it Hitler henchman them.
All right.
It's wrong. It's very, very, very wrong. It's wrong. The people are suffering. Woman out there with baby, couple days old baby. Yeah, there is nothing for them. And the worst thing about it, if him never get the help, we could have said, but him get it. Where is it?
He got it. You're right. All right.
He's got it.
Yes.
Where is it?
All right.
It's not his.
Yeah, we have some more callers coming in. Because they want to say something too. So thank you. You're powerful. We love you. Okay.
Yeah, man. Big up yourself, caller from the UK.
All right.
I was ever a judge and I still don't in a feeding case. The only light him would have seen and a little bit through the glass. Him, yeah, would have never come back out if he comes in a proper daylight. Him is a wicked.
All right.
It is worse than King Herod. It was the Herod.
Oh, yes.
Herod was one of the worst one in the Bible.
All right.
Yeah.
Bless up, my sister. Love you.
Okay, my love.
All right. For the person who is calling, just call back. Right? All right. Okay. All right. We got about the caller. Yes, caller. You're on Mystic Sensation Live. Please go ahead. Blessings.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely I see what I go on. But what may I say, right?
Yes.
How can we as people allow this one man, right, to carry down this rabbit hole in a sense? The whole way we ask me also, we can't just put together because since we run by the Westminster system, and if England has melting pot, they are England, it would have gone already. So what we can do to enforce all of them the laws because we still run by the Westminster.
All right.
Because talking about him, we don't want him, just want to get rid of him. So how we can enforce this and make it work so we get rid of them? Like seriously.
Okay, all right. Let me be serious about this now. Very serious about this. Right? The people have to realize that the power is in their hand. The people have to realize that they are the ones who elect him in office. What am I saying? If the people come together in full awareness that they want this prime minister out, he has to come out. If you do research, so the situation here that is stopping this is the people who fail to recognize what the problem is and deal with it accordingly. But anytime the people wake up, if the people wake up, right? Let me tell you something. The PSOJ, they rely on their profit. And if the people come together, right, and decide that they want this prime minister out, he will have to go, whether they like it, yes or no.
Madagascar recently, and
Just like
the people
yes.
Minister system. I watch England politics in a sense when they bring like Lizzie Hurst,
yes,
which is unique on them money. In no time, Boris after the COVID,
yes,
and simple little thing they do less than 100 when them man they have to go like just go.
Yes.
I live in England, but me watch the thing. So how come I run by the same thing? So what we can't do is get rid of him because
all right.
people are going to wake up in.
Okay, you're asking a very.
Wake up because there are some people who have beat me down. My own family too. So me not even was a year on it.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, what we can do diplomatically to get rid of this wicked evil man.
Well, listen. Well, listen. Right. There are two ways that you can get rid of a legitimate government. Ways number one is that they're going to use the electoral process in terms of voting him out, or you are going to have a vote of no confidence. You are not going. Hold on, Carla. You are not going to get that as it relates to vote of no confidence, right? Because his cabinet ministers, you understand, are just like him. As a matter of fact, right? They are totally in alignment with the criminality. So we are not going to get that. So what we leave with, that the polarization of the politics, right, there need to be a paradigm shift as it relates to people understand the importance that our democracy is online. Here you are saying that, okay, your own family don't see eye and eye with you. But that is a problem that we have. Now, when you talk about the Westminster system in England, right? Remember, if you look, what caused the difference with that is education, my friend. Education. Political awareness. Their civic awareness. If Andrew Holness was in England, because if you look on the education as it relates to India, England, and Jamaica, right? It is day and night. These are people who are educated, so you can't ground them. You can't tell them like, look, you think if Andrew Holness was in England, you understand, and all them things that they come up on, as a matter of fact, the very moment him statutory declaration cannot be certified in year one, they will not allow him to go through.
In a COVID, Boris them keep a party. Boris gone.
Yes. That's just what I'm saying.
Lizzie Hurst gone.
That's what
make Andrew have a started answer with it.
It goes okay. My friend, what I'm saying to you, it goes to the level of awareness. It's all about awareness, education. It simply means, and this is how the politics, you understand, override and manipulate because the masses are ignorant. The masses don't know their rights. Number one, listen, it is just plain and simple, my brother. All right. If you think I'm joking, you might go down into wherever you are, wherever you're from, and you try to have a conversation. You understand? You are going to see how polarized the politics is. Then how are you going to get out Andrew Holness? Andrew Holness no definitely say. Even Darrell Vaz is saying you people are stupid. Darrell Vaz is saying that. They know.
And it should become I don't know why they can't see it, because as I put it on Vaz now, though, the same thing will come with the cat band money. See them event, I don't know, send them all taking like JPS. JPS is a private entity. JPS have their money. Any bank will give JPS money.
Yes.
So what you want to say, okay, JPS loan for
A foolishness, man.
Any bank want JPS. That means I should this is a thief thing I go on.
What you mean if a thief big? What you mean if that I go on? Corruption I go on.
Real people, I tell me people them say, "Oh, looking on a self, no blood, not to say a thief that man."
All right, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. How much of your family them you try to convince and them really understand what you're saying?
Two sides of the fence. One side of PMP, one side of JLP. The JLP hard, the PMP hard. But at this point in time, you make them know so you can't pick nobody. Because I say two sides of the fence. My mother one, my father one.
All right.
My mother, my father did, but as I grew up. So I make them know so look, the mother can't on straight to the
All right. Hold on there. I have to run left with my brother. I love your conversation, but the lady I call, Winnie, they call me. Winnie, me see you just drop off. Right? Me love your strength. Winnie called me several times. I will not take call. Winnie, call back. Me love your. All right. Bless up yourself. Bless up yourself. Yeah, Winnie, call back. What's to say your call? All right, call back Winnie now. The line free. I wonder if she hear me. I wonder if Winnie hear me. Winnie, if you hear me, call me back.
You know, I just want to say something to where the caller that just highlight, you know.
Yes.
The failure as it relates to why Andrew One is operating at Jamaica. And he has been watching, you know, UK news. But it's the thing with UK, yeah, journalists and media house, them put pressure upon politicians, you know. And them break the story all the time. And once that story that need investigation, the Met Office, the police, Metropolitan, yeah, them come in and do investigation, and that's how people get moved, because once the pressure start keep up on them, the party have to let them go. Because there are so many other parties that are well positioned to topple the leading party in this country, that all of them start to echo the matter.
Pat, hold on there. We get back Miss Winnie on the line now. I'm going to talk to Miss Winnie and you. Yes, Sister Winnie, what's going on? Yes, Miss Winnie, you're on Mystic Sensation. Go ahead.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Mystic and Mrs. Mystic and
Blessings.
Mr. Melting Pot. Now,
blessings.
In the UK, when we didn't approve of Margaret Thatcher, we get rid of her.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So anyway, this man here, he thief the COVID money, he thief the barrel money, and he's thieving the hurricane money. That's why they don't spend it. They're all taking a cut. All of them in there are a bunch of thieves. You understand? And
yes.
But the people are so blind. I don't know what. One time Jamaican was the best in the world, but they let this piece of man don't even know his father come and mash up Jamaica. Huh? And this Pump Rawls, he shout. But what I'm annoyed with is why the PNP keeps skinning their teeth with them. Why?
Well, I mean,
why don't they stop smiling? Stop it, man. It drives me mad to see them smiling with them.
You know,
when the piece of woman that she don't know her head from her heart, telling them this, cutting off mic and them, don't come out, standing there and stand up and behave, show them we can behave as just like you. How dare you telling me to sit down and cutting off mic and me? Andrew is a thief, all the money gone already, that's why they can't spend none. The hurricane money gone, and what he do is with Ramesh. He giving Ramesh things to give out. The things Ramesh giving out is the thing that's sent to him to dish out to the people. So Ramesh is just like he. And the next thing is too, when they come and but they're only giving out the PNP, only getting not the JLP, only getting at the PNP. How dare they? And this should be a crime against humanity. You cannot do that. You get those things to give out to the people. Not P, not D, not whatever you are. When I see Andrew Holness, I feel like putting my hand on my throat to vomit.
Whoa.
I hate the man with a passion. I hate him so. I don't even want to see him. When you are talking and showing him picture, I have to turn my phone down and turn the volume down. I just hate Andrew Onis. And Andrew Onis is not working alone, you know. He's got other people telling him what to do to, you know.
Yeah.
And he have people that is telling him what to do. Because he joined the gang and he cannot, he's a horrible man. And I just can't, why Jamaican don't stand up against this man? Andrew Onis did not want no international help with donors bringing in things. He didn't want the people to die. So they can already they get lands already, they can get more. Because the wife went down and she bring in value to value land, to take away land from people. They had land thief. They're money thief and they're land thief. Mr. Listen to me. I'm so annoyed. I can't even say at a 78-year-old woman I still can't say what I want to say. I just detest him. He's like, listen to me. I'd rather sleep next to a centipede than see the man.
Wow.
It makes me sick to my stomach. My husband is a Belgian and he don't even want to see Andrew on his face. Because he cannot be, a prime minister can be so wicked to his own nation that he said he born in. Huh?
Cold and
that
jealous.
He's Andrew thief the COVID money buried and he thief the hurricane money because he don't have a cent to spend. That's why he's going around begging other country now. And I regret my prime minister help him. I regret it so much. I regret me a monthly help. And this stupid woman from the IMF gone praise him. She's an idiot. She don't have no sense. Did she tour Jamaica?
Yeah, she's more than an idiot. She's more than an idiot.
She must be, she's like a nincompoop jackass. A white-heart woman like she, what Andrew Hollis is. Did she go around to see the dead bodies on the floor? Did she go on the road to see the dead cow, the dead horses, and the dead peoples on the ground? Did she? I would love to see her face to face and cuss she till everything drop off of her. Damn fool. Anyway, bye-bye, you hear?
Thank you. Love you, my sister. Love you. All right. Bless up yourself. Now, Melting Pot. Let me
Yes, my brother.
go back. Yeah, Melting Pot. You want to finish up with what you were saying, Melting Pot?
Well, just in regards to the whole spectrum of discussion, yeah, and relating back from these figures that Peter Bunting was taking mention of, yeah, in terms of 2015 showing a growth of 926 million, and then all the way down to 2023, 316 million. That is a depreciation of 610 million US. And I mean, that just shows how inadequate the government is in regards to attracting investors and growing the economy. You understand? So all these numbers, they are real numbers, and they does not stack up well for the Andrew Hollis-led administration. The Andrew Hollis-led administration is not an administration that put themselves to work, No.
Yes.
Where work is concerned, they don't have any form of affiliation with work as it relates to working for the people of Jamaica and working for the country, Jamaica. Them working for themselves, them have so much business. We have seen Andrew Hollis doing a lot of PR as it relates to sales representative. We know he's not a sales representative. But we see him sell apartment, we see him sell all plaza and all these things. Yeah, and it's cause for concern, my brother.
Exactly.
In the UK, you don't see no member of parliament in these type of activity. Them distance themselves from business related circumstance. But in Jamaica, these guys are so, egotistic, and they are so entrenched with the element of power that them not care.
No.
You understand? Them bright, bold, and presumptuous with them reckless, callous behavior as parliamentarian. They does not follow the protocol of parliamentarian under the Westminster model. And I ask the question all the time, then why is the Westminster model being mentioned as the yardstick for Jamaica Parliament? That has to move. That has, because that has brought the Westminster model into disrepute. And this is why I asked the question a few times. Yeah. The powers that being, that is, wholly and solely the own the rights to the Westminster model. Why you let Andrew Wallace and the Jamaica Labour Party tarnish that model, the reputation of that model? I know heads from within the United Kingdom know of Andrew Wallace's reckless behavior. They know about people like Derek Simit gun trafficking because they're the one who wiretap the conversation. So them have a lot of info on this government. But I'm asking the question, why we are not seeing an intervention from the United Kingdom? Why? Because Jamaica has always been a contributor to the United Kingdom, going as far back from, early 90s, World War I, World War II, yeah, soldiers and nurses left our shore to assist in the war. The rebuilding exercise of United Kingdom, Jamaica participate in that as well. In terms of back in the days, agriculture export to United Kingdom, yeah, banana, sugar, and all those things, yam, breadfruit, coffee. So we have, contributed a lot to the United Kingdom economy from as far back in the early 90s. And so Jamaica must be one of the country that United Kingdom stand up for. Cannot allow Andrew Wallace to drag the country below the level of 80. Because I know them don't want a second 18 in the region, They don't. So rather than being, proactive and stamp out this guy and him dictatorship style, where my exhibit in Jamaica, they are not even reactive. They are just there watching everything unfold. So everything now live right in the hands of the Jamaican electorate. For the change to make, it has to be the Jamaican electorate. Because we're not seeing the help coming from UK, and we certainly won't see it come from United States of America. So the change, the button now is in the hands of the Jamaican electorate. And I can only say to my fellow Jamaican brothers and sisters, I don't think there is much more time to waste. Because if Jamaican people continue to think along the line of handout and political, money being planted around in terms of vote buying and all these things, and give money to go and campaign and all them stuff there. That is the wrong direction. That is the wrong message. That is the wrong signal. All of those components are wrong. Jamaica will never reach its full potential if we continue on that type of behavior. That type of behavior can only destroy the growth of a nation. Because the government won't work. They won't strive to better if they know they can buy you out with small amount of money. Yeah? Because when they give you a 5,000 or a 10,000, numerically it sounds enough, 5,000, 10,000. But what's the purchasing power of that 5 and that 10,000? Nothing. So you don't get anything really, because Jamaican trade is aligned to US dollars. because we do a manufacture. Majority of the stuff them that Jamaican consumer shop for, it's not made in Jamaica. It's imported. And it's imported using the US currency. So if you get 10,000 or 20,000 from Andrew Wallace, what is that value in terms of United States dollar? You don't get nothing. So is that 10, 20, 30, or even 50,000 worth a better life? A life that you can, sustain even by your own initiative because jobs creation becomes available. Purchasing power, your dollar gets stronger because of good governance. You will now have a life, that you can be proud of. Not a life that you neglect and reject because people see you on social media and TikTok crying for help. I don't say we can't cry for help, Anybody can cry for help. But in the case of my Jamaican brothers and sisters, they have not stopped crying for help for the past 10 years.
True.
And Melissa come compound it more than before. Because people were in their house and still crying for help. Because there was no food. They couldn't pay the bills. But now they're crying for help beyond the word help. Because them now have a roof now over them head. This is where the problem gets serious. 5 weeks now post Hurricane Melissa. And a lot of people still have to be using makeshift shelters. Makeshift shelters. And I mean, we have lots of rain since Hurricane Melissa. But the government that Andrew Wallace led, does not see the needs or the desire to remedy that cause. Why waiting so long before you start to rebuild back the society? Lots of houses, And I tell you one thing I know with my Jamaican people, in times of needs, my Jamaican people will reach out to their fellow Jamaican. You understand? Now, you might have a home that, nicely built house, concrete structure, but the roof gone. It have several rooms on it. Why not just go put back a roof, just go deck it, and make some people can't even get a shelter in there so till you can start up. Because I know my Jamaican people would have, incorporated such an idea. Each one help the other. We see it in even the report from the CNN journalist when they went in and the lady said she have some people now where staying a fear place because them lose them houses. So that program is a program that can be initiated, and the prime person to initiate this type of program is the member of parliament. Government going and do the assessment, get the material, get the workman, help the people to put back the roof and the houses that are not fully destroyed. And then there's a consensus amongst the people to help each other. And then you don't have to think about wasting money on container houses. You don't have to think about building container housing scheme because there is no such housing scheme existed in the Caribbean. What you have done to the powerhouse country in the Caribbean is to reduce its status. Reduce the status of Jamaica. You have made people in Trinidad make video and laugh after your own Jamaican people, telling them that their dogs are better off than them because their dogs are privileged to KFC. And Jamaican is fighting and getting beaten. The 2-piece. You have done that not once, but twice. Now you want to take away, the liberty of the people that was given to them by Joshua Michael Manley. where proper housing solution must be for every Jamaican. That's why I'm institute NHT. And when him institute NHT, Michael never build any shack and Paul Cobb. Him start to build real houses. A lot of people who got house in that early initial phase of NHT, they are now living in their mansion because Michael give them house that they could expand. So they could, accommodate families and friends. And so this idea of introducing container houses into Jamaica, not as temporary shelters, but as permanent fixtures, it is totally wrong and absurd. And I am telling Andrew Holness this afternoon that that policy must be scrapped and abandoned. And I'm not going to say this to you again. If you institute that program into the society, you're only asking for casualty. Because it's not that Jamaica can escape the hurricane season, We sit right in our hurricane belt region. And we cannot predict what type of level of category hurricane will come our way. So what we have to do is make sure that we prepare the right way so that when disaster of this type of magnitude come to our shores, we have structure that can withstand the force, that can preserve people's life and keep people in a shelter until it passes over. And I yield back the floor, my brother.
All right, my Jamaican people, there you have it, melting pot, right? Unfortunately, we're gonna have to end the afternoon show, right? Just here because we have to prepare again for later, and later will be definitely greater people. So we will be picking up where we left off later, right? I want you to tune in for later, right? Because we know that later again we are going to unpack, right, some more serious subject matter we'll be discussing. So we want to say big thanks to everybody who passed and support, right, the afternoon program. I really appreciate that, right? Pick up on yourself, love no hard. We know that melting pot again are forward later. So listen for later because later greater. So people, Mystic Sensation is out. Let me just give my wife to just give us our send-off, wifey.
As usual, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate everyone. And thanks to you, as usual, Melting Pot, for your insight. Really appreciate the information that you've been bringing forth to the people, bringing forth awareness. And as Baron says, we will see you guys shortly. So stay blessed until we see you in a few hours.
A few hours, all right. Blessings. Melting Pot, check you out later. See you.
Yes, my brother.
I know why you come to me with that foolishness, You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.